What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. It's October. That means it's spooky season. So let's begin with a scary story. Kamala Harris is the Democrat nominee for president. Nobody asked for it. Nobody voted for her. She didn't win any states. She didn't do any interviews. Nobody had a nominating process or anything. They just made it happen. They just shoved her in there. Whew. And, well, that's something Kamala Harris is very used to. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Your Democrat nominee for president.
One nation under a groove, getting down just for the funk of it. Can I get it on the...
This is why I say Democrats hate America. This is the person who will be on the ballot in November, a couple button presses away from launching all of our nuclear weapons. This individual making that maybe that's the noise. Maybe that's the noise of the nuclear siren as all the missiles fly into the air. She's trying to tell us something, ladies and gentlemen. Kamala Harris is trying to tell us that she's really, really unaccomplished and has never done anything with her life and has only ever been handed jobs without merit that she didn't deserve, and is totally unprepared and incapable of, well, being a serious person. That's why when prompters go out during Kamala Harris speeches, they sound like this.
Remember his number, 32. Today we got 32 days until the election.
Okay, now the prompter goes out. Watch this. You're all talk.
So 32 days. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do. You
can see the prompter is gone.
Right. 32 days. And we know we will do it. And this is going to be a very tight race until the very end.
Is this why Kamala Harris needs teleprompters at town halls? Is it? You can see here, this is from the Univision town hall from last week. Kamala, there's the prompter. There's Kamala Harris. This is why Kamala Harris needs prompters at town halls? Maybe. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that Kamala Harris is not capable of independent thought. We've established that many, many times over. And now Christopher Rufo has once again proven it by going through some of Kamala Harris's books and proving that she's a big fat plagiarist. Kamala Harris plagiarized at least a dozen sections of her criminal justice related books. Smart on Crime. Does it feel like Kamala Harris is smart on crime? I didn't even know Kamala Harris wrote this book. Should never have been published. Obviously, certainly wouldn't be published today since we now know her history on crime. Smart on Crime. This is the same lady that bailed out the rioters for Antifa that were burning down Minneapolis, and then she hired the guy who let it all happen to be her vice president. I'll tell you what they want for the country. She plagiarized at least a dozen sections of her book, Smart on Crime. According to a new investigation, current vice president even lifted material from Wikipedia. We have receipts. The investigation was conducted by Dr. Stefan Weber, famed Austrian plagiarism hunter who's taken down politicians in the German-speaking world. We independently confirmed multiple violations that are comparable to severity of plagiarism found former Harvard president Claudine Gay's doctoral thesis. Chris Rufo, one of the leading individuals who took down Claudine Gay at Harvard. We begin with a passage in which Harris discusses high school graduation rates. Here she lifted verbatim language from the AP and NBC News. In another section of the book, Harris, without proper attribution, reproduced extensive sections of Jonathan Jay's criminal justice press release. Oh, no. A section about New York court program. Harris stole long passages directly from Wikipedia, long considered an unreliable source. Oh, no. Look at this. Harris has copied language from the Bureau of Justice Assistance report, which linked in the Wikipedia entry. Here's the passage in Harris's book. Duplicated material in the other columns. You can see in the red is all the plagiarism. Read the full story about Kamala Harris's plagiarism problem right here extensively on my newsletter. Oh, yeah. You can read that. And then you can also look at J.D. Vance's X feed. Hi, I'm J.D. Vance. I wrote my own book, unlike Kamala Harris, who copied hers from Wikipedia. This is going, whoa. Cue the corporate media fact checkers. Vance's tweet is missing important context. Kamala Harris only copied some of her book. Trolls out. Harmeet Dillon, who's been doing a wonderful job exposing who Kamala Harris actually is, Kamala Harris has never been required to put in the work to get ahead of merit her entire career. She's a hustler. That's right. She's a DEI hustler. Just in Kamala Harris accused of plagiarizing entire sections of her Smart on Crime book. She wrote a book called Smart on Crime. This is it. A career prosecutor's plan to make us safer. Chris Rufo goes into detail about how anybody with Kamala Harris's low intellect clearly hires a ghostwriter, right, for things like this. So should you blame the ghostwriter? But it's Kamala Harris's name and face on the cover, along with her electronic earrings, right? The walkie-talkies in them. I think those are the same ones. Kamala didn't simply plagiarize her book. She plagiarized Wikipedia. Total and complete fraud. Story is already rocketing through the highest level of conservative politics. Next step, as with Claudine Gay, is to move it from the right to the left. Uh-oh. Chris Rufo has the receipts, baby. First rule being smart on crime, don't steal the content of your book from Wikipedia. She really stole dude's nomination. It was small potatoes, that's right. So here we go. Some of the articles. Kamala Harris accused of plagiarizing. Kamala Harris plagiarism. This is actually what took down Joe Biden. Just a reminder, Joe Biden had to drop out of his first presidential race because in the 80s because he was proven to have plagiarized like family stories, right? Like he stole the stories from other people. He stole family stories. Kamala is so tied to Joe Biden, he follows his path in plagiarism. Kamala plagiarized Trump's policies. Now she turns out to plagiarize her own book. A lot of DC gossip, says Stephen Miller, that the Democrats are trying to replace Kamala. This would explain the aggressive counter-programming from Biden and Clinton. Explosive new plagiarism scandal adds even more pressure to the top of change, the top of the ticket. I'm pretty skeptical about plagiarism claims, but the case here, Kamala's 2019 book is very strong. Major sections were copied wholesale without attribution, says Glenn Greenwald, one of the best. Just a reminder, she needed a teleprompter to get through an Oprah interview, billionaire Democrat donor. She couldn't even get through the interview. Anyway, this is making all the news right now. Could be our little October surprise. So many October surprises. Just a reminder that Kamala Harris also stole stories from her past. Tucker Carlson proving that Kamala Harris stole a Martin Luther King story. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Kamala Harris, who, by the way, is the ex-girlfriend of Montel Williams and will be described that way forever after on this show, wants you to know that she's totally authentic. She's just real. She's not some typical out-of-touch politician. She's so real. She listened to Snoop Dogg and Tupac back in the early 80s before either one of them even made music. That's how real she is. She listened to tunes that didn't even exist. But recently, one of Kamala Harris's realest moments has been getting unwanted attention. According to Kamala Harris, when she was a young child, she attended a civil rights march. Of course she did, in Oakland, needless to say. And during that march, she was so focused on the liberation then in progress, she somehow became separated from her parents. She was in a stroller. Here's what Kamala Harris says happened next.
When were you out there protesting?
Well, I was in a stroller. And so I was out there. And in fact, my mother used to have a very funny story about I was fussing and she said, Kamala, what do you want? And I said, and this is how she would say it. And she said, Kamala, what do you want? And I said, freedom.
No.
She just wanted freedom, or she said, freedom. Which is funny because both of Kamala Harris's parents were immigrants from other countries who came here because when they arrived in the 60s, it was a totally free country. There was no Jim Crow, actually. Kamala Harris didn't grow up under anything like that. She grew up in a country that's freer and more equal than the one we live in now. But whatever. Kamala Harris made the same claim to Elle magazine in October. And a similar story appeared in the books that Kamala Harris claims to have written, both in 2010 and 2019. Did you know she was an author, in addition to the former girlfriend of Montel Williams? Oh, yeah. But here's the amazing thing. In 1965, which was 56 years ago, Martin Luther King himself told Playboy magazine an almost identical story. King said that he saw police, quote, accosting a young girl in Birmingham, Alabama, and we're quoting, who was walking in a demonstration with her mother. According to the Reverend Martin Luther King, the police officer asked, what do you want? And just like Kamala Harris, that girl responded, freedom. Is this nauseating? Yes, it's nauseating. But the plagiarism isn't even the worst part. Again, to restate, Kamala Harris is the daughter of immigrants who came to the United States because we had freedom. And freedom was what allowed her to become a United States senator despite having no personal accomplishments. But instead of celebrating the United States for the amazing place it is or was, Kamala Harris has decided to tell us once again, like they all do, this is a terrible country. It's a racist country. And that's why we need more identity politics, which not incidentally will make me more powerful. Okay. You should know that she didn't come up with this herself. Her running mate, that would be, can't even remember his name. He can't remember his name. We know his name. He spent most of last year claiming that he was arrested for trying to free Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Here it is.
I had the great honor of being arrested with our UN ambassador on the streets of Soweto trying to get to see him on Robben's Island.
One of the most saintly guys I ever knew, because I got arrested trying to see him when I went down to South Africa. Nelson Mandela.
I came back from South Africa trying to see Nelson Mandela and getting arrested for trying to see him on Robben's Island. He was in prison.
That's right. Joe Biden single-handedly stormed Robben Island in a Zodiac to free Nelson Mandela. Horace Cooper was there, actually. He's now the co-chairman of Project 21 and joins us tonight. Horace, thanks so much for coming in. So